مساء الخير. Right now we're going to talk about regular feminine plurals in Arabic. You're probably familiar with the regular feminine ending at that we usually put at the end of words that are grammatically feminine in the singular. Like if we were talking about an article, maqala, we see that it has a ta marbuta, we know it's grammatically feminine, so to turn it to plural, we would add an alif and a ta and remove the ta marbuta. Maqalat, or muhandisa, a female engineer, muhandisat, mudarrisa, a female teacher, mudarrisat, etc. In formal Arabic, feminine plurals that refer to human women have their own set of pronouns and verb conjugations as well. Remember that with non-human nouns, we refer to them, everything about them in our sentence is going to look grammatically as though it were referring to feminine singular. So this is only for humans who are women that we use these. And remember that in colloquial Arabic, in speech, we usually have one set of nouns and pronouns and conjugations that applies to both men and women. This is a feature basically of formal written Arabic. So over here I have some feminine singular pronouns, subject pronouns, object pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, etc. for reference, and then I have the feminine plural versions that we would use if we were referring to a group of women or addressing them in the second person. Then you can sort of see the family relationship between most of them. Instead of hiya, for they, feminine plural, we would say hunna. Instead of enti, we would say entunna. So we already hear that unna ending. There's a sort of harmony of sound that will help us out. Instead of hadihi, we do use ha'ula, which can refer to a group of men or a mixed group or a group of just women. Instead of ha, her or hers, it would be hunna. Instead of ki, kunna, there again that unna sound. And instead of alati, we would use alawati. For verb conjugation, we also have a couple of differences. So in the past tense, we still have suffixes, and then in the present tense, we have prefix-suffix combos, but they differ slightly from the other conjugations that we might already know. Instead of enti darasti, I've picked the verb to study just as a template because it's one we all know. We would say entunna darastunna. You, all of you women, studied. Hiya darasat. She studied, or they, feminine plural, hunna darasna. Notice that the final letter of the judr takes a sukun, and then we just add a noon with a fatha on it, darasna. In the present tense, enti tadrusina, you, feminine singular, study, and tunna tadrusna. So we keep the ta, but instead we add the noon with the fatha on it. And instead of she studies, singular, hiya tadrus, we would say hunna yadrusna. Notice that unlike the other combinations, we keep that ya at the beginning, which is a prefix that you might associate with masculine verb conjugations. Huwa yadrus, he studies. But in the feminine third person plural, we're going to say hunna yadrusna. They, feminine plural, study. So I have some sentences here that are currently mostly about feminine singular subjects, but I want to switch them to feminine plural just as some examples so we can see how all of these things work. رقم واحد. الطبيبة التي حضرت المؤتمر كتبت مقالة ممتازة. So, the doctor who attended the conference wrote an excellent article. Now I want to turn that one female doctor into a group of female doctors. So, I'm going to first use that sound feminine plural and say الطبيبات. Let's use a different color. How about blue? الطبيبات التي. Now I need to turn التي into a feminine pronoun. اللواتي. So the doctors who attended حضرت, feminine singular. I need to make it plural, so I'm going to turn it into حضرنا المؤتمر. كتبت, again, just one person wrote it, but now I want to make it a group of women who wrote this article. كتبنا مقالة ممتازة. Second, الهندسة تحب عملها كثيرا. The engineer loves her work very much, or likes her work a lot. So now we want to make it a group of engineers. So we would say المهندسات. A very nice thing about the sound feminine plural is that we pretty much aren't going to be bothered with broken plurals in this case. Even if there is a broken plural like طبيب, one grammatically masculine doctor, the plural would be أطباء, which is very weird, but we can stick with طبيبات, so it's convenient. المهندسات تحب, now we want to say they all like, so we can apply this template and say يحبن عملها, her work, we want to make it their work, so we would say عملهن كثيرا, and the adverb stays the same. Finally, let's say I met قابلت المديرة وناقشنا الموظفة الجديدة. I met the director and we discussed the new employee, and the director and the employee here are feminine. So here we're only going to change the nouns. قابلت المديرات, the female directors, and we discussed the new female employees. One last wrinkle which this sentence can help us illustrate is that, remember how the masculine regular plurals only really have two case markers? In the marfu'a, it's un, and then in the mansub and the majroor, we have in. Something similar happens to the case endings for feminine plurals. It's going to look the same probably in an unvocalized text. We're going to have alif, ta in either variation, but in mansub and majroor, it's going to be made mansub or majroor with one or two kasras. So here, for example, قابلت المديرات, I met the directors, they're the object of that verb, so they're mansub, but instead of putting a fatha like you might ordinarily expect with a mansub verb, it's going to take one kasra. It doesn't take two, it doesn't have tanween because it's definite with an alif lam. And the same thing here, ناقشنا الموظفات الجديدات. We're going to have a kasra and a kasra, even though it's mansub, not majroor. And that is feminine plurals in Arabic. Remember that we pretty much need to use them in speech when we're referring to we need to use them in writing and in formal speech when we're referring to groups of women. And then in colloquial, we tend to use one set of pronouns and conjugations for the same thing. But if we want to be clear in a formal text and we're referring to groups of women, this is the structure that we would need to use.